Ponzi scheme. That's the only reason that's
why
true.
is it a Ponzi scheme? If you get a degree, you get compensated for it.
Because it's like a pyramid scheme. It's like you pay in on the bottom, and then as more people pay in, you will get more money on the outcome.
Yeah, but you don't get that.
Except that for a lot of people, they don't get
that's
the
only if you get to
Hold on,
indoctrination.
In this clip, we have Destiny, who just got into a heated debate on the PBD podcast. This isn't just some casual chat. Destiny's squaring off against the PBD crew, tearing through their takes on the education system with razor-sharp logic and real-world grit. We're talking K-12, college debt, and the whole mess of how society's handling education. Destiny's bringing the fire, calling out the nonsense, and laying down why his perspective's the one that actually makes sense. Let's hear what Destiny has to say.
Current education system. What do you think about the current education system that we have?
That's a really broad question.
Well, you said you like opinions, so go for it. Give us
I don't
your
have a
time.
strong opinion on things I don't know anything about. You want to talk about like colleges? You want to talk about like K-12?
You think go through both. Yesterday Kyle had a lot of strong opinions on, we should forgive all the college debt, all that stuff. But I'm talking more the format, like our educational system, K through 12, and you can go into college as well.
I read a quote a long time ago. I don't remember who it was from, but the quote that I read was that if you were to pull somebody out of the 18th century and you were to transport them into today, the only thing they would recognize would be the schools. That like we have a way of educating people, and we've done it for like hundreds of years. And
that quote's completely false.
Okay, well,
we didn't have schools in the 1700s.
Nobody got educated anywhere in the.
We didn't have schools in the 1700s. We didn't have schools. You're
like
saying
school
that they would
systems,
recognize the schools.
There were no schools in England or whatever. People weren't like getting.
There must have been some sort of schools.
colleges, but not schools.
Okay, colleges. I'm sorry,
but not schools. So they wouldn't recognize the school system.
Okay, what is our terms? Does college not count as school or?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
When you say schools, you mean K through 12. We call colleges.
Okay, well, I don't mean that, but maybe for the purpose of this conversation, then we can mean that. Okay, college is a separate thing from school. I feel like there are a couple of, if we're talking about like classes, I feel like there are a few basic classes that like every student should be required to take that we don't. So things like a basic home ec class, I think a basic psych and a basic philosophy course, I think would be really important. Like just a couple of the things that help us like exist in the world and like file our taxes and be like a little bit critical of like the things we watch. And then I know that largely speaking, I know that we've got troubles in schools that throwing more money, at least in some places, doesn't seem to help. But I think schools are hard because sometimes that's like the last stop of like a whole bunch of problems prior to that, right? If you've got a kid coming from like a single parent family who's not getting much sleep, whose household is in like a really, fucked up area, at that point, how much can a particular like K through 12 school actually do for the child? I'm not entirely sure. Past that, if we're talking about colleges, I think colleges are pretty okay in the United States. We have our really good schools that people all around the world come to get educated in. I think that people opt too much for out-of-state schools. You got people talking about, I've got, $200,000 in debt. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Are you a doctor? And they're like, no, I'm like a mechanical engineer, but I did like 7 years of like out-of-state, plus tuition and board and everything. And it's like, why the fuck did you do that? But yeah, I think largely speaking, I think that like the college stuff is okay. I'm not a big fan of student loan forgiveness.
So, I mean, yeah, Destiny's dropping truth bombs again. He's all colleges. They're fine. People just make dumb choices like racking up debt for no reason. I don't know about you guys, but Destiny's take on skipping loan forgiveness for high earners is spot on. Why bail out engineers when working poor folks need it more? Destiny's got his head on straight here. Practical as heck.
Why not?
Coming from like a working poor background before I got into streaming, I feel like the middle class asks for a lot of tax breaks sometimes. And when I look at like really working poor people, I'm like, damn, these people are fucked. Okay. And you want to have your student loan debt forgiven when you're going to go on to become some of the like the top tier earners in all of society. I think if you look at
very interesting.
Yeah, the cost of education has grown, but the average amount of time to pay back a degree based on getting a degree, I think is about the same as it always has been.
20 years to pay back your debt. That's the average.
I think I thought it was 15, but it might be 20. I guess depending on what
Maybe
you
for,
do. Yeah, but like
go-getters like you can do it in 15. But on average, I think it's 19, 20 years.
maybe, yeah. But the people that earn college degrees go on to become the highest earners in society. So if we're going to target stimulus towards any part of like the economy, I'd rather go towards people that are like working poor and not towards people that are like engineers that just want to get rid of like a $500, $600 a month like student loan debt payment.
You're saying targeting stimulus?
Like anything.
Like,
When we talk about
rather than spend the money to
Yeah.
pay off people's debt that they chose to incur themselves in order to get ahead in this life.
that they're going to be rewarded for.
Well, there are
Let's-
limits to it.
let's help
by the
out
way,
the poor,
the whole
the
Biden
abject
$10,000 student loan it didn't pass, correct? This was
Correct.
something
Well,
it didn't
I
happen.
think
It got
passed, but I
struck
think
down.
it's being stuck.
I think it's in the
It stalled in the Supreme Court, I want to say.
I think it's in the new.
Point is, nobody got the
$2 trillion
$10,000 or $20,000
I know that
erased,
the site was
did they?
open, and I know people were putting in applications. I don't know if anybody's gotten it yet
Don't get me started on these sites. They're crashing.
on the websites.
But but there were limitations. I think if you made over $150,000 a year, you did not qualify.
Yeah, and then people with Pell grants were qualified for up to $20,000. If you were
Right.
going to do it, I think it was probably the best way to do it, and it's maybe a good way to get young
But you
people to
know,
vote, even though they don't otherwise.
You even point this out. Like, I'll say this: college prep and career readiness is a Ponzi scheme. They got your kid for 12 years. They've already convinced you, and they've got 12 years to convince the kid you need to go to college, because if you don't go to college, you're screwed. And so you got to go to college. And what is that? That's just, you got to pay a lot of money to a school somewhere so that you have a college degree. And they're in nowhere in school do they say why you have to go to college. It's just so that you can earn the money. But it's not like, let's make a plan for you. If you go to this school, it will cost you $80,000 total over 4 years, and then you have this potential of this earning. No, you can go for basket weaving and get $200,000 in debt or whatever, and you completely unemployable. And so my point is, the whole thing is, at this point, it's just a Ponzi scheme. It might be based on data that came from 50 years ago, but at this point, we got to wake up and smell the coffee. Kids don't necessarily have to go to college. And you went to school, you graduated.
No, I failed.
Okay.
Well, I had to work too much. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're a dropout.
Wait.
Zuckerberg. Well, come on.
Not everybody can do what I do though. I got
No,
really
but
lucky.
Zuckerberg's a dropout. Gates is a dropout.
Hold on. No.
And you're gonna say-
Hold on.
They dropped out of Harvard.
People like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg quit school because they were too busy working on projects.
Correct.
If you're a guy that's failing like remedial algebra and you quit school, you're not going to become the next Gates or Zuckerberg.
But bear with me. What I'm saying is you do not have to have a college degree to succeed in life. And so setting up a child and saying you have to have a college degree in order to succeed is a false paradigm. It's just false. There are a lot of people who succeed. In fact, most of my friends, I don't know, did you graduate? Okay. Most of my friends who are entrepreneurs, who are self-starters, who are successful in life, did not go to college and did not graduate, or did go to college for a short term and figured it out and didn't graduate. And so my point is, it's a Ponzi scheme.
If I
Now
may,
they're all in debt, and now they're all saying, "Hey, government, bail me out."
I think you're doing a disservice to college. Hear me out. Because there's parts of what you're saying that I agree with, and there's parts of what you're saying that I just think is not
God.
the best portrayal.
The only
of
other
this.
person I've ever met that's
Yes.
actually to defend college on a show.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
well,
I'm curious.
because there's different strokes for different folks. When you say that college is a Ponzi scheme, it depends on this is why I think the decisions you're making when you're 17 and 18 are the most important decisions of your life. Like, where am I going to school? You really have to do the ROI on college.
Okay. Yeah, Destiny's stepping up big time. He's like, hold up, college isn't a total scam. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't know about you guys, but Destiny's killing it by pushing back on this Ponzi scheme nonsense. He's showing how college works for tons of people, and he's not afraid to call out the exaggeration. Destiny's keeping it real, and I'm loving it.
Because it's been proven that
That's
a
right.
high
You're
school...
completely unprepared to make those decisions.
Totally agree. Hear me
Youth
out.
is wasted on the young.
Yeah,
it's true.
But it's been proven that if you look at the math, that if a high school degree, you'll earn $1 million over your lifetime.
$1 million per college degree.
No,
million
$2
more than
million.
high school, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
$2 million, what you will earn on a college degree. Okay. And then as you get a PhD or a master's, you can earn lifetime earnings on average $3, $4, $5 million.
Right.
Now, for every Bill Gates that drops out, and Mark Zuckerberg that drops out, or PBD that is to go to college. There's hundreds and thousands of people that are just average people. So that's why I totally agree with you on this. Here's the problem that I think is lacking in America is there is a need for technical schools, right? These vocational schools. But the problem is if you're going to go to high school, right? You're going to go K through 12 and you're taking all these classes, algebra, biology, math, this, that, and they say, hey, by the way, after high school, you should go become a plumber. What 18-year-old kid is going to be like, I've been in school this whole time and now you want me to go back to being a plumber? And what they don't understand is some plumbers will make $100,000 a year and you might only make $40,000 a year
Maybe if
with
you're
your
working
liberal
in
arts degree.
New York.
And,
But
well, okay,
Yeah.
but
So you're making my point for me.
no, but the point is this: is that no, very few people are going to go through school for 18 years or 12 years, and then be like, all right, let me go be a plumber or a sewage guy or a garbage man. Even though the
that's
ROI
true.
on that
That's-
is greater than
That's true.
sometimes a college
only
degree.
because of the whole college prep and career readiness Ponzi scheme. That's the only reason
wait,
that's
why is
true.
it a Ponzi scheme? If you get a
Exactly.
degree, you get
because
compensated for it.
because it's like a pyramid scheme. It's like you pay in on the bottom, and then as more people pay in, you will get more money on the outcome.
Yeah, but you don't get
except
that-
that for a
Yes.
lot of people, they don't get
That's
the class.
only
no,
if
no,
you
no,
get
wait,
to
hold on, no, no,
indoctrination of that you have to go to the some out of state school and spend $50,000 a year. If you're okay with going to community college and taking basic classes
Well,
and
here's
paying
the-
your
here's
way,
the thing.
you
If
can
you-
get out of
Well, also,
college
that's
a
not,
very
that's, not
small
a
amount.
Ponzi, that's not a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme relies for you to get the money at the top from new people coming in at the bottom.
That's right.
But if you go and get a degree in nuclear engineering, you're not getting money from the school. You go out in the job market and you get paid in the job market. That's not a Ponzi scheme.
Well, it is, because when the government comes in and bails out everybody's student loans and all of that, then it's all of a piece.
Well, okay, one,
so
that hasn't
it's like
happened
a
yet.
whole feeder thing.
But it
Yeah, but
could
that
happen.
hasn't happened yet. And two, if how many Ponzi schemes could you kill immediately, and like every single person that is like graduated would still be making money? That's not a Ponzi scheme, right?
But okay, so my point is that it's a setup. Okay, because there are plenty of kids who really shouldn't be going to college. They're
Right.
much better served not going to college, and there are plenty of kids in college who are being disserved by being taught things that simply aren't true about themselves and about life in general.
That's a different story. So for me, I think what you guys are saying is everybody here has a point, and everybody here is making a good counter argument to the other person. This is what I would say. To say all of it, like I want doctors to go to college. Like STEM is, I don't think you're saying that. I think STEM, you need to go to school for STEM. I'm not going to have somebody work on my dad's heart that's never gone to school and hasn't gone and done, additional things
No,
you
of
need to
course
be a heart surgeon. Yeah, I want.
and I'm not saying that nobody should go to college.
Right, you're saying.
What I'm saying is that the rule shouldn't be
Sure.
simply applied.
I think the part I have a challenge with is the following area. The part I have a challenge with is the fact that, for every one conservative professor, there's 13 liberal. That's the problem. For every, for example, the one thing you got to give so much credit to the left is they understood if you want to control the way people think, go control universities, okay?
Yeah.
You got to do that. But by the way, Republicans were lazy on it.
It's true.
They have one school, which is what, Hillsdale? And maybe you got a couple other Christian schools that you got, Bible schools that you got. What else do the Republicans? Even Duke nowadays is what? Is
Duke
on the
is,
left.
yeah,
Duke
gone.
is not the Duke of 30
Yale
years
is
ago.
gone,
Yeah.
Harvard's
so,
gone,
So,
they're all
so,
gone.
so what the Republicans, rather than taking the money that they had and creating some real universities, they just said, nah, I'm going to go out there and just do my business stuff. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to go out. You need a pen?
Yeah.
Can you give them a pen, if you don't mind? Yeah, thank you. So I think that part is a mistake of the right. Like right now, the left is losing their minds because Elon Musk bought Twitter. Why? Because they've been controlling media for how long now? God knows how long. That's strategically a good move on them. So Elon comes in, he starts exposing everything, and they're like, yeah, Twitter files, don't even talk about it on mainstream media. They're scared shitless. That's how you compete. You compete that way.
We've lost the competition because they've indoctrinated all of the teachers K through 12. So our schools are gone.
That's a lazy side of Republicans.
Do you
though.
think? But it doesn't matter because it's the kids now that are.
I
that
don't
are
disagree
being
with
taken.
you. I don't disagree with you.
And you think that we have a chance to fight for the Second Amendment? The Second Amendment is gone because all of the kids today
disagree.
that are going to zero tolerance schools are learning that guns are bad.
Yeah.
Full stop.
But okay, so then the question for me becomes, if as a capitalist, and a person myself that I'm fiscally conservative, as a capitalist, I like to say, what are you doing about it, Pat? That's my MO in my family life. What am I doing about it? Okay, perfect. If that's what Republicans stand for, what are you doing about it? Personal responsibility. Then damn it, Republicans, take some personal responsibility and ask yourself, how many universities have you started? How many schools have you started? How much time have you put into it? Why don't you take your top 40, 50 richest billionaire Republicans and say, set aside, you really want to do this? Oh, I'm going to give 100% of my money away. To what? Bullshit charities?
Yeah,
No, why don't you
stop spending your
why don't
stop
you
sending
take,
your money to these institutions
But
just because you graduated
because they're
from
not
them.
united and they're lazy. Get
agree.
together and say, here's $50 billion over the next 20 years to build some incredible campuses and universities to compete against the Harvards and the Yales and the Berkeleys and all this other stuff. How about we go?
Destiny absolutely dominated this PBD podcast debate. He came in with clear, sharp takes, defending colleges that work, calling out bad debt decisions, and showing why education's issues aren't as simple as throw money at it or it's all a scam. The others were tossing around hot air with their Ponzi scheme rants, but Destiny kept it grounded, proving he's the one with the real answers. This was Destiny's stage, and he owned every second of it. I typically don't agree with Destiny, but this take on college education is something I can support. Well done, Destiny.